Welcome back to Paula. The theme this weekend is perfection. And Paula, this is Crossroaded. My name is Eric, your host. With me this week, co-hosting, we got Justin Reese. What's up, Justin?
What's up, Eric? Ready finally some outdoors. I love this shit, so let's get it.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Zach and CJ should be jumping on later. But first, we have a special guest this week. Buddy of mine, team manager out there for Husqvarna team, Zack Wiley. Zach, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing good. So you had a long weekend over at Paula. Tell us about your weekend. How it went. What were the highs, what were the lows? I mean, this was the first round of you being the official team manager over there. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm the team manager for MRPSBR Husqvarna. It's a first year team right now. Um, it's been a journey. I did all Supercross with them. I was wrenching for Slade Varola and kind of doing some team manager role, but coming into outdoors now, I'm focused on just being a team manager for the team. So only having a week in between Supercross and going into outdoors, it was pretty chaotic.
Yeah, I
Just
can imagine.
restocking. Yeah, we're the team's based out of Reno. There's a dealership up there that's the MRP, which is Michael's Reno's Power Sports, and
Hmm.
then SDR is Stan Benson Racing out of Bakersfield. But the rig was up in Reno, and we're ordering parts, prepping bikes, getting everything ready. Just kind of like sucks. It's such a short window, but you got to just make it happen in the end. So,
Yeah,
but
no, absolutely. So tell us about your journey. How you started, how you got to start being a wrencher for him. I know you've been out there in SoCal for quite a while in the moto scene. So how'd you get this opportunity?
um, I was doing a Baja team for like the last couple years, and then they ended up stop doing the team. Just it's expensive and due to funds, and sometimes it's hard to keep things going in this industry sometimes. But when that was done, I was kind of helping Slade out a little bit on the side in between the Baja stuff, working at the Racer's Edge and doing that whole deal. So when the team stopped, he kind of hit me up and was like, "Hey, like I got offered to ride for this team. I need a mechanic, and you're just like one of the guys I trust. Would you be interested in doing it?" Kind of went from there.
Right on. Their bikes look sick. I think they're one of the best looking bikes out there.
Yeah,
Justin, how
definitely.
about you? Any questions for Zach?
Um, I know you. How many riders do you guys have? I think you have four or five. Is that correct?
We have 8 right now.
Oh
8
wow.
for outdoors.
Is
Yeah,
that eight? So all eight for outdoors. Is it four fifty, four two
I think
fifty?
it's all 250, right?
no, we have 3 450 and 5 250s right now. It's a lot.
Hey, that's a full semi over there. Damn. And
Yeah,
are you covering both sides, 250 and 450?
yes, I do everything. So pretty much as soon as qualifying starts, I'm in the manager's tower running lap times, checking over everybody, like from 250B, 250A, 450A, 450B groups of qualifying right now. It's like I said, it's been a little chaotic, but I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah.
Like the team's helped a lot with everything. So for a first year team though, like it really hasn't been like as much of a struggle as I like most people would kind of think it would be. Just
Yeah.
like the only thing that's been really hard right now is since we are in an Austrian brand, they're kind of been going through some financial troubles and getting parts has been more difficult than anything.
Mm, interesting. Okay.
So like all of our
And then
bikes,
so
let's
when
say
go ahead.
I was gonna say like all of our bikes are, white front, black rear. So right now, instead of buying the shrouds individually or whatever, to make the color combination that we wanted, you couldn't just buy shrouds. They like don't have them. So
Wow.
we came up with buying complete plastic kits. Now we bought like to start it was like 20 white kits, 20 black kits, and then we ended up flipping the 450s. So the 450s have a black front end and a white rear end. So we're utilizing
Wow.
both plastics. It's been a journey to make all this happen, but we're doing what we can.
That's crazy. So after each race, do you just peel off the graphics, scrub down the plastics, and just put a brand new set on every round? I would think that you have to kind of reuse your plastics, yeah?
So right now we've been trying to be very cautious with plastics. It's not only plastics that we have to be cautious with, chain sliders, chains, like certain things to get. It's been a little tough, but depending on if they're banged up, yeah, we're gonna replace them. You know, like say a rider goes down and it's
Yeah.
all messed up, we'll change it. Our guys right now are on a full. They do a full prep in between this race and let's say Hangtown, and then at Hangtown they'll fully frame it, rebuild the bike, and then we'll go to Thunder Valley, kind of do a mild prep. Our plan is to do full frame offs every other weekend, depending on how bad the race is. Like
Hmm.
this weekend, it wasn't like super wet or super deep, you know, so it wasn't as hard on the bike as say like some of the deeper East Coast tracks will be.
Sure. And then how do you plan to factor? I mean, looking at the weather this weekend, Hangtown, I think it says it's going to be triple digits this weekend. How does that factor into the bike prep? And I mean, you basically just have to tear it down when it gets that hot out there, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, we have XPR motors, and Chad does all of his homework, and those things are tuned like to perfection. Literally, he's got it down to a science, and we're running different radiators, we're running fans on the bikes, we're running different coolant, like, you know what I mean? Just everything we can to keep them cool.
Yeah.
And then, like, one of the big things people don't understand is keeping the fuel cool too. Um,
Oh yeah.
Keeping the fuel cool creates more power. It does a lot for the bikes.
I don't know.
How are you keeping the fuel cool? Are you keeping it inside the semi? Are you putting it in ice? Or how are you doing that?
So to keep the fuel cold, you kind of have to be very cautious with it because say you have it in a gas can, you don't want to put a gas can in a cooler with ice because it can evaporate
Mhm.
through the plastic and into your fuel. So you can put the metal cans in there and you're fine, but it's a slippery slope when you do it that way, you know?
Interesting. Up
Yeah.
a few different factors. So have you been riding any chance at riding at all? Or you just been kind of wrapped up with the team?
Nope, I haven't got to ride since last year, which is very unfortunate. Um, I've actually been building a bike on the side. Pretty cool little project. I'm sure you've seen it. But I wanted
Oh yeah.
like to do like my own little Baja build for myself, and it's been a journey, but it's almost completed.
Uh, have you had a chance to ride the team bikes out there?
Not any of them on like the track, but I mean I've ripped them around, like warming in clutches, like breaking them in, checking brakes, heating brakes up, like before they go
Yeah.
out and moto them. Never got to like just be like, hey, go ride it, but that doesn't mean never. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, because that's what I want to know. So Justin, he's a pretty good rider. He's pretty top B class guy. So yeah, I'd be curious to see you ride one of those elite bikes and just kind of see what you thought about it. I don't know if you've ridden any kind of like factory level bikes. I know it's not quite factory, but just those elite race bikes, just to see like how different it is from what you ride on the weekends.
I mean, just riding them around, like it's a 250F and I ride primarily a 450, but like you feel those things, they want to go. You know what I mean? Like the motors that Chad
Yeah,
does, like dual injected, like just full trans, all the oil ports are opened up. They're nasty little 250s. Like hands down, like that guy has done his homework and like haven't really had any issues with them, which is nice. Like all the
yeah,
riders are super confident and it doesn't affect like for a rider being so like mental about things, like they can trust Chad to do their motors and they know that they're going to be reliable. There's not like a question about it.
yeah.
XPR does
So
quite a bit of motors, right? I think they did like Moto Concepts, I believe. I think they
Yeah.
do a couple other or kind of high level privateer teams too, correct?
Yeah, they do quite a few motors right now. I just when you talk to Chad, like he's also very straightforward and like he'll read you like a book, like I do a lot of stuff myself, but when I talk to Chad, like it's very like dry with him, and like he's all serious and he's all business because it's his name on the line, and whatever you
Hmm.
get from him, it's going to be 100%. So it's good to know
Yeah,
like
and
everyone
sport
has
like
confidence
this,
in it.
yeah. Yeah, especially a sport like this, the level that those guys ride on, we hear about bike failures all the time. So yeah, I mean, confidence in what these guys are on, is definitely going to make a huge factor. So Zach, tell us about, what does your day look like? Paula, Saturday, start to finish. What time you're getting in there, what time you're leaving. What does a day for a team manager look like? For those that really don't have any idea.
For me, as being a team manager, my goal is to be there from first person there to the last person there. Really, like and me being like this is my first time being a team manager. I want to show to my guys like I'm not the one that just rolls in at 10 o'clock, watches the race, and then leaves. Like I want to dog it out with
Right.
my guys just to show them like, hey, like we're all in this together. Like I said, it's a first year team, but on Saturday morning, I got to the track at 6:30 in the morning. One of our guys wanted to do a suspension swap on his bike, so I told him like, yeah, I'll meet you there. I got with the truck driver, Kiever, and got the keys from him. So I went to the rig, got it all opened up, got the bikes out. We had one of our guys with me. We all rode to the track together, and he started helping up. Ralphie, he's like comes in and just like helps Kiever with whatever he needs as far as the rig setup and stuff like that. But got all the bikes out, got everyone kind of situated. Like I have it laid out to where like with 8 guys, you got to kind of have it figured out. So this guy knows his bike's always going to be in this spot. So when you show up, this is where you are. There's no question. You're not on this side of the tent or that side of the tent. You're here. You know.
Hmm.
But got everyone in, got everyone situated. The day kind of it feels chaotic because we have so many riders, which is a lot. But I was really like motivated to go out there and see what the guys would do. We had 2 guys in B practice, which was Dayton Briggs and Dylan Kuna. And then I had Brock Bennett, Slade Varola, and Blake Gardner all in the A practice, And then
Hmm.
followed by that, we have the 2 450 guys in A, and then we had one more in B. So it's like when I'm up there in the tower, I'm watching, our guys come through and making sure, like, they're not crashing or, what segments of the time of the track they're on to relay the information to the mechanics down there because when you're down on the floor, you can only see so much from the mechanics area. Like,
Yeah,
you'll see
especially at
them
a
go
track like
by and
Paula
that's it.
too. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
it's so flat. It's so tough to see there. Like, even in the tower, you can only see, like, a couple turns and that's it. Like, for instance, the first moto, we had Brock Bennett out there in the 250 class, and he took off, went all the way in the back. Dude ended up landing on Faulkner's bike in the back and going down.
Mm.
We had no idea. So he comes around, and there's like
Yeah.
4 guys way off the tail end of the pack, and we're looking around like, how did he lose the pack? Like, what happened? None
Yeah.
of us knew he crashed because it was on the other side. And he was
Yeah, and that
riding
kind of brings
around.
into like that kind of brings into play. Sorry to interrupt you, but like the communications right now that's kind of been thrown around here or there. Like that's a perfect example of if you can radio in or he can radio into you, like, hey guys, I'm down, I'm here in this spot, But where do you feel? Do you think the communications in the helmet? Do you think it would play a huge role?
Honestly, I'm always with just man and machine. Even
Hmm.
in Baja, we never used radios. We used trackers. Um,
Okay.
we never had. It's not like we have a helicopter down there. Some teams did, but we have sat phones for the
Right.
guys. If something did happen, they could use that. But for as far as like Supercross and outdoors, like I feel like it's too easy for someone to be like, "All right, move over left," and there's a dude there.
Yeah.
Like to
Right.
me, it's all about the man with the machine and what they can do with it. Because the guys sure as hell don't want to
Okay.
hear what I have to say to them when I'm watching them ride. You
Right.
know,
Right.
But like, I know we're kind of jumping around, but when we get done with like qualifying and stuff, and I get a
Hmm.
minute, I'll go back. I'll sit down with each rider and go through the segment times. There's a map that AMA provides that shows like this segment, that segment. You know, I could send you guys a photo of, say, for Paula, and you guys could like put it up or whatever. But
Yeah.
it breaks down the times and it's listed like this guy's fastest, and it goes through every rider, and you can kind of pick apart where they're struggling on the track. It's a little easier
Yeah.
in Supercross to do it because it's like this turn and this straightaway. Where at Paula, it was like this straightaway, this S turn, this long straightaway, that turn. It's such a bigger
Oh, a
segment.
lot longer segments.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's hard to be like, well, this turn you're kind of like not doing good or whatever. But I try and go through and show them like, hey, like in this qualifier, you were quicker on this one. So like, what lines did you take? You know, and then in this
Yeah.
one, you're slower. So you got to kind of like put the two together and show them like, this is where you're struggling, or this is where you're advancing, or you need to work on this section. Like, I can only say so much, though. It's down to the rider to make the adjustments.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
speaking about not being able to see people like on the backside of the track and stuff like that. I know some of these bigger factory teams, I've seen them when I'm at the races, they got people walking around. I'm sure you guys are pretty stretched thin with you having 8 riders. Your mechanics, your team's probably always, well, it sounds like always busy and always on the track.
Right.
Does that definitely a disadvantage for you guys not being able to have a couple extra guys, spread out around the track in the fan area, to be able to relay that info?
We have spotters that go out, but it kind of depends on the time of day. Like, for instance, we'll give like Ralphie a headset or Kiever a headset, but like, and we'll put him out on the track and have him, look at certain sections and kind of relay information to me. But like, also like, not only is Kiever the truck driver, but he's also our chef. Like, he cooks our food, does,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so he's got like a big role. And then like, while that's happening, Ralph will like set up the pressure washers, make sure everything's set up. If the water gets low, he's got to get someone over there to refill the tanks. Like, it's it's a lot going on for outdoors. But it is nice to have spotters when available.
Yeah, I can see how that plays a factor. So once qualifying's done, so like you said, you had Bennett in the 250s. Did any of your 450s guys make it in this weekend?
Yeah, we had Harry Coolis and Matty Jorgensen.
Okay, so yeah, so those two guys. So what is it like? Qualifying's done. You got the guys that didn't make it into the qualifying, then you guys that do. Do the guys that don't make it, they just kind of go home, and then what does it look like for the guys that did make it into the top 40 and that are racing both motos?
So it was kind of a hectic day because Brock made it in, and then Slade and Blake actually were alternate 1 and 2.
Oh
So
wow, okay.
Brock crashed in his moto, got back up, rode the whole moto with his shoulder kind of messed up. He's pretty banged up, and then ended up crashing again, but still finished the moto. Like, it's like one of the things like I admire about him the most is like he's just a dog. Like, you could kick him
Hmm.
when he's down, he's gonna like finish unless he's like seriously hurt. So
Yeah.
he ended up not being able to race Moto 2, and I think along with like maybe Faulkner or someone else, maybe Robertson or someone got hurt, and
Yeah.
Slade and Blake Garner actually got to race the second moto as alternates.
Oh, that's sick. Okay.
Yeah, so we
Yeah, I
actually
think
had
I think
three Super
Faulkner
D guys,
and
and
Robertson.
both ended up getting
Dang,
hurt.
okay.
Yeah, so kind of weird having one guy out there, and then all of a sudden I got two other guys to look for in the second moto. But I think that track was a struggle for everybody, no matter who they were out there. Like, Paul is, it's just its own weird breed of a track. Um, a lot of the guys, like, they're not really a fan of it. Like, I'm sure people talk about it, but to me, it's just get through the first couple rounds, and then like once you get more onto the East Coast, like that's when I think like it really begins. Like the
Right.
dirt's
Yeah. Right
different,
around like
the
High Point.
tracks
What
are
High
better.
Point is around 4, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, right after Lakewood.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
yeah, Brock actually crashed on the first lap, and he was in 37th. Got up and rode up to 31st, and then crashed again. And then that's when he ended up going back to like 37th or something. And then
Okay.
450 Moto 1, Harry actually ripped a pretty good start. And, Harry is very, very precise. When you watch him ride, it's the craziest thing to me because he's one of those guys that is so smooth and so technical. He doesn't look like he's going fast, but he is. He's just very
Yeah.
precise. And he ended up 16th the first moto, which is, pretty solid,
Hey.
Points.
Yeah.
Points.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
points. We'll take him. It looks good for him, looks good for the team. Like, of course, I go back and I ask him, like, hey, like, good job. What do you think? And he's like frustrated, you know,
Yeah.
just wanted to make some tweaks on the bike. And like I said, he's very, very precise. And he knows what he can do if his bike is like 100%. Not saying it wasn't or is, you know what I mean? Like every track, there's going to be
Right.
a struggle with something. Like, doesn't matter where it is. There's
Yeah.
always going to be like, you can adjust it for this, but it's going to hurt it somewhere else. But
Hmm.
16th, I thought that was badass in the first moto. Um, Second moto, we had Blake and Slade out there. Kind of both had a rough start. They were kind of battling around. The both of them just had a little bit of a struggle for the day. And then
Hmm.
Blake ended up getting a flat tire. And then I think Slade
Oh
ended up
wow.
around 37th. So we've actually are having a pit cart built right now, which unfortunately we did not have a pit cart down there. So that cost us him getting back out, you know.
Yeah.
But it's getting built. We'll have it for Hangtown. We're gonna just keep growing as a team. Little things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
So I got a question about that pit cart. You guys not have. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
So you guys not having a pit cart, do you think that, I mean, you'd almost think that maybe Husky, factory Husky, may try to help and give you a wheel or something like that? Is that something you maybe try to ask for with you guys being an Austrian brand, both on Huskies, maybe something they would throw out, or are they pretty like, nope, you guys are your own team, sorry.
Um there's certain things, yes, you can ask for when you're there, but pretty unlikely that they're gonna give up a wheel because they may need the wheel. And then also you could be
Hmm.
battling, like, say for instance, you get a flat front or something. Well, you're asking Husky for a wheel and you run a 280 front rotor and they're running 270s. Like, it's just, there's too many different combinations along with gearing and specs and stuff like that. The chances of them giving up a wheel or something is very slim because they have guys out there as well.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
So,
That's a good question. Yeah, if there was any support there. All right, so you guys get through both motos. What does it look like? The day is over. Getting everything packed up. Is there like a debrief that you do with the riders after? Or do you usually just kind of wait a day and recap it later, with them?
um, I usually like will talk to them throughout the week after or like the next couple days. Let them get through the weekend, calm down. Like, Brock hurt his shoulder pretty bad, but I obviously have been checking in with him, seeing if he's going to be ready for Hangtown and all that stuff. But usually I'll give him a couple days and kind of check back in with them. And then if there's anything over the weekend that we needed or whatever, we'll have it for next weekend. But it's a process to get all the bikes torn down, get the rig torn down, get everything loaded. Like, some guys that they'll help more than others and stuff like that. But it's a lot of work to set up the rig and tear it down. Like, it
Oh, I
really
bet.
is. It's a whole
You
day
just have
like
one
being
semi, all
tracked.
those bikes under one?
Yeah, one semi.
Dang,
Wow.
8 bikes
Yeah.
under one semi. My
Are
goodness.
a lot of those parts are interchangeable though from 250, 450. Probably besides like a motor stuff, but probably a lot of the chassis and
Yeah, the whole chassis are exactly the same. It's literally just motor. So everything is pretty much interchangeable.
well, that makes it a little bit easier on you.
Yeah, like even like the clutch disc and stuff, or the 250 is a smaller stack than the 450, like, but the disc are all the same, So
Hmm.
there's little differences like in the motor stuff and stuff like that, but other than that, like the whole chassis are all the same.
Wow. Well, cool. Well, we're at that 25-minute mark. Justin, do you have any other questions for Zach? I'm sure he's exhausted. Long weekend. He's got another week going right back into. I'm sure you got to jet out there probably right around Thursday. But Justin, anything else that you got for Zach?
Yeah, I got one question. Being team manager, how is it? Do you handle all the transportation and logistics? Like how rough is that to get, every rider, every mechanic, every team member? How does that look, throughout the week? Are you the one booking the flights, or you guys kind of have like a person behind the scenes kind of really helping with that?
Yeah, we have a guy behind the scenes, Maya. He's kind of like the other team manager, but of like the booking end of it, not at the races. Like he was at the race this weekend helping out, of course, but he can't go to every
Mm-hmm.
race. So he does more of the logistics of, hotel rooms, flights, rental cars, like anything along those lines. He's at home base taking care of all that stuff and making sure that end's covered. So that way, when we show up, we'll get our flight information, we'll go to the airport, we're all done. And it's easier that way because I actually still work at a shop Monday to Wednesday right now, and then I fly Thursdays and then fly home Sundays. So
Mm.
Oh
I'm
wow.
literally 7 days a week right now. I think I've had maybe 2 or 3 weekends off this whole entire year so far.
Is the team's home base in SoCal where
No,
you're
they're in
at?
Reno.
Oh, they're in Reno. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Interesting.
yeah.
Where
So,
they where they ride? Do they have their own private test track out there? No, in Reno, there's
well,
not really any moto out there.
no, not really. But all of our guys are kind of all over the place. Like Slade is
Okay.
at Master Pools right now in Texas. Harry Coolis is at Club. Matty Jorgensen's at the Sandbox. Um,
Oh, wow. Okay.
you know, Brock is down at in SoCal, so he rides, Paula and all that. And then Blake Gardner, he's out at Rainers in Oklahoma. So we have
Wow.
guys like everywhere, and they just fly into the
Yeah.
race.
Oh yeah, spread out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But
All right.
it's kind of cool, We get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and kind of make it work somehow. But we do it.
When
We're
they
actually
when
the
the series goes when the
go
series goes back east, are you guys gonna try to stay on the East Coast, or are you guys gonna be flying? You gonna be flying back and forth, or is the whole team kind of gonna try to stay back there?
No, we fly in and out every weekend. So like for us, our travel days are Thursday, Sundays. Um, we do that, and then the riders all fly home to go back to their area to go train for the like couple days during the week, and then Keever and Ralphie hit the road, and then they go to the next spot.
Wow.
Yeah, but
All right.
actually, what's really cool is the MRP of it, Michael's Reno Power Sports, the dealership in Reno. They are the title sponsor of Hangtown this weekend.
Are they really?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
sweet.
Heck yeah,
yeah.
that is sick.
So they'll have a bunch of stuff on
Hope
display this weekend.
hopefully you get front row parking or somewhere nice to park at.
Yeah.
No, you got to play by the book, and it kind of goes off of like points and the teams and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you know, we'll get there when it's time, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
cool. Well, thank you so much for joining, Zach. It was cool to
of
get you
course.
on here and just kind of learn about your new role over there. It's a cool team you have. I mean, we saw Dayton Briggs. He really had a standout ride in Supercross, getting that big result up there. So, hey, you're welcome anytime. But thanks again for joining. And yeah, we're gonna keep an eye out on the Husqvarna team out there and see how many of those 8 riders you got. get those all
Yeah,
in the top 40. That'd be awesome.
yeah, definitely. If you guys ever want to check in, just reach out. You know, I'm here for you.
All right, we appreciate it. All
Yeah,
right, thanks, Zach.
yeah, no
And thank
problem. See you
you.
guys.
All right, Justin. So special guest there. Give us a little bit of a different insight into the industry, as a team manager, what that looks like. So, we got a little bit of everything, guests so far on this show. So, but let's go into this weekend, before we get into any of the racing. Obviously, there's a big story around Jett. There was a video that came out that leaked when he was, younger in his teens, said something maybe he shouldn't have. Lucas Myrtle kind of aired it out there. Obviously, it went pretty viral, but he made his apology on it on the press conference. And honestly, to me, like I didn't really care about it. I hope this kind of puts everything to bed and we can just kind of move on from it. But if anything, like if you're any rider, why would you still be signed with Lucas Myrtle, knowing that this is the kind of garbage that he's going to pull?
Yeah, Myrtle. I mean, this is an all-time low blow by Myrtle. I mean, it just shows that you're literally scratching at scratching just to try to be relevant. It
Hmm.
sounds like he's. I mean, if you watch the video, he looks like he's tweaked out. I mean, his eyes are, past his nose. I mean, he's just moving around. I mean, he's on something, but I mean, I don't think a lot of people really. I mean, yeah, we're dumb, when we're young and say some stupid stuff when we're around friends. It's kind of shady from the whoever was recording that, that filmer to
Hmm.
be letting that out. I mean, that ain't cool. That's not professional at all. Yeah, it's Myrtle. He's going downhill for sure, and it looks like he's trying to do anything to stay relevant. He even posted, "Oh, round two," or something else. Like he's hitting
Hmm.
that he's gonna drop something out, and he's just gonna make himself look like more of an idiot, as time goes. But it seems like a lot of people in the sport, no one really said anything. No one really, oh my God, Jett needs to be suspended or, this or that. I don't think AMA even, said anything. No one said anything about it really. This was all just a Myrtle, poor me. Let me see if I could try to make these people look even worse, because who knows? There may be something that there really is, that Myrtle did do, which it sounds like. And he's just trying to, play poor me.
Yeah, I mean, Jett did something wrong. He knows it, but
Owned up to
I think
it,
I think we've all
apologized.
seen that, the character that Jett is. Um,
It was
so
7 years ago too. Like, I mean, he was what, 15 or something like that. I think it was when he first
yeah,
got to America. So
exactly. Like, thankfully, when I was 15, we didn't have all these up to date smartphones. Social media was just becoming a thing, but that'd be a story for a lot of people out there. So yeah, I mean, it's just
uh,
there's
and you
phones
think
out
about,
there. Anything can get brought up from the past, but
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
imagine if there was phones back in the day in the McGrath and Havasu days. I mean,
yeah.
there'd be no factory riders back in the day if it was,
Oh,
you know, from the stories that everyone hears. I mean, just imagine if there was any smartphones or even cameras really around at all. I mean, it'd be a whole different ball game. So,
yep.
yeah, it's just all unprofessional by Myrtle and that video guy, whoever let that release.
Yeah, no, exactly. And if you're a writer that's currently signed with Lucas Myrtle, you got to really reconsider just knowing that what he'll do, the lengths and the dirt that he'll hold on to, in case he needs it.
Oh, also,
But
also
yeah,
speaking about that situation, was it B Mazy or whatever? I sent that in the group chat. He came out with
oh
that
yeah.
diss track on Jet. I was dying laughing while watching it. It's so stupid, but dude, I could not stop laughing at
I
it.
honestly I wasn't even gonna bring it up because I don't even want to give him any kind of mention for that garbage track that he came out with.
It was like when MGK was trying to go at Eminem in a diss track. It just
Yeah.
backfired.
Yeah. Well, another special event that happened this week, getting into some racings, WMX is back. They're going to be doing the first three rounds of this weekend, Hangtown, Colorado, and then I believe they do the last three rounds. But it's cool to see the women's get back into it. We talked about a lot of it kind of last week, but going into it, Michaela Nelson, Moto KK, shout out to her. We had Billy Laninovich on last week, teammate of his. She ends up getting the overall with a 2-1. Lala Turner won the first moto, had a crash in the second one, came back for third, and then Jordan Jarvis 4-2 for third overall. And then shout out to Charlie Cannon. They said this on the broadcast that apparently she had like hand surgery like 5 days ago, and it's already up
Yeah,
there already out
Yeah.
there riding. But yeah, Justin, it's cool to see WMX out there. 20 riders in the field. That's a solid turnout for the first round. Hopefully, it continues to grow.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if they did it on Saturdays like they used to. I believe back in the day, do it during intermission or something like that. But I also get it. They're in a time crunch. They got broadcasts. They're trying to do track prep, whatever. So it'd be cool if they could broadcast it. I know live timing was down, so we really couldn't even follow it.
Hmm.
We're kind of just looking at the end of it, but it's cool to see it come back because I think some of these female riders now, I mean, they can rip. I mean, they're hanging with the boys. We saw that. I think we talked about it last episode. That girl on a super mini back east beating
Hmm.
all the boys in the mini senior class and one of the super mini classes. Like it's cool to see they're starting to catch up. I guess you could say they're starting to learn what they got to do. So it'd be interesting to see if we have more women try to qualify for the pro national. I know Jordan Jarvis did it. I think last year, maybe the year before. We had Vicky Golden try to do the Supercross and she qualified for Supercross.
Hmm.
So it's always cool to see, them try to get in there, but it's cool to have their own class. Pro women's is back, and they were ripping. And that Charlie Cannon, she's the Australian like 4-time champ or something like that. So yeah, she can rip too. So it'd be interesting to see what she can do healthy.
Yeah, there were some big names that showed up for it. So yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see it out there. And yeah, I mean, you got to get some kind of broadcast on it to kind of get it to grow. But like you said, I mean, if anything, this kind of talks to Billy mentioned training facilities, right? Hey, there's girl riders in those training facilities too, so you might see some of these females coming up through the ranks that are going to surprise, quite a few of us, because they're putting in the work just as hard as everyone else. But really cool friends going, but great racing. Shout out to Moto KK getting that win around one, and yeah, I'm excited to see what happens over in Hangtown. Um, well, all right, Justin, let's go right into the qualifying. We'll start out with the 250s. I mean, pretty funny. Deegan was sitting up on the podium, helmet off, ready to say his little speech, and then Hymus just absolutely lays down the hammer, all 2 seconds faster basically than Deegan. But I mean, yeah, overall really impressive. Julian Beaumer, he really stood out to me too. We had a question mark as far as how can Julian, stack up outdoors? Does he have that speed, especially after Glen Helen? It didn't really look like it. Um, but yeah, what about you? The 250 qualifying, what stood out to you?
Yeah, it was pretty good qualifying, actually. I thought Deegan was just going to blow everyone out of the water and, be faster by like 2 seconds. But, yeah, Julian was impressive. Marchbanks was ripping. And Hymus to throw that in there out of nowhere. Honestly, I wasn't expecting Hymus to do that. I know we kind of had a question mark like, Hymus, what are you going to do this year? It's kind of a make or break. What are you going to do? I know they talked about on the podcast or the broadcast that Hymus, his main focus has just been be ready for round one outdoors. I know you're get through Supercross, and he's just been training outdoors only. And I mean, this weekend he showed he's been riding outdoors.
Yeah, no, I mean we saw a little bit of flashes, last year the speed was there. We just want to see him healthy. But yeah, the speed was there. We'll talk about how his motos went later. A couple of names that kind of stood out. We talked about Mikel Harup. He made his debut, got a 15th overall. Jordan Smith 16, Volan 17. Some of these bigger names, Thrasher down at
J
19.
Mart, J Mart 23rd.
Yep,
Oof.
and we'll talk a lot about J Mart. Obviously, at that waiver, but yeah, J Mart makes his return with a 23rd in qualifying. Hunter Yoder, I believe this was his first outdoor ever, so cool to see him in there. But then shout out to the rookie, the club kid, Alexander, 20th overall in qualifying. But yeah, I mean, really, really interesting qualifying here to kind of see where everyone's stacked up. Some really big names that kind of surprised us, and some guys that didn't really do as well. But let's go ahead and jumping
I said,
over.
hey, shout out to Drew Adams, 8th qualifying, and then Casey Cochran. We haven't heard pretty much anything from him. Didn't race any Supercrosses, I believe, and he got 7th in
Yeah.
qualifying. So he's showing some flashes of speed. That's really good. I believe his deal's up, and Gas is going away at the end of this year. And also Vial 11th. That's kind of a little concerning.
Hmm.
Um, you know, but we all know how Vial is. He doesn't really flash that flashy speed. He's kind of in it that whole race and kind of sneaking up in there.
Yeah. Over into the 450s. I mean, we all had question marks. Where was Jet gonna show up? I don't think there's anything that was really gonna surprise us, but Jet shows up after the first qualifying session. He's 2 seconds faster. Goes in the second one, still gets even quicker. He's almost a minute. I mean, a second and a half faster than the rest of the group. But I mean, Jet showed that hey, he's ready to go. Obviously, we'll go into the motos, but. I mean, I was curious to see who's going to step up and lay down that heater, and Jet showed looks like he's ready to go outdoors.
Yeah, Jet showed up ready to go. I think, I mean, the last few years, I think he's missed what, two or three maybe titles that he possibly could have won but got hurt. So that's, I mean, he just got to stay healthy. And I think I mean, him coming to round one, I don't think anyone expected him, to have that big Supercross injury, and he came out and just laid the hammer down. And this track just, it just seems that if you could rail that outside in a lot of these corners during qualifying, you were going to have a fast lap time because I mean they just rip it too deep. I mean you couldn't get to any of the insides until almost the motos because it was so deep and wet. So it's pretty much almost like a one line who can pin it balls to the wall, ripping the outsides. So I think they need to quit ripping the track so deep. I mean I think Paul would have been a great racetrack if it wasn't just 2 feet deep of ruts everywhere, and people can move around a little bit better.
Yeah, you saw right. I think the second qualifying in each round was a little bit faster for both of these classes. But yeah, I mean, there's something I don't think we saw. There's like a viral video of like the how deep the ruts were, and yeah, I agree. I don't think we need to go that extreme. These guys are pretty gnarly. I mean, even the Polo track was super fast as it is already. So
Hmm.
kind of crazy there. Going into the 450 still going into 450s. A lot of guys made the return, right? Eli Tomac, he qualifies third. Really showing for him. Hunter fifth, good to see him on there. Prado eighth, not as good as what I was kind of anticipating with Prado. I know it's his first time learning these tracks, but still,
I was
when
I
you
was kind
see
of
someone
expecting
like
that.
RJ that's out there ahead of him, his rookie on the 450, yeah, I kind of expected Prado to be a little bit not fastest, but at least top five.
I expect it. I think this first round, I mean, everything taken from Prado, I think you just got to kind of take as a positive, because like we all talked about in some of the preseason stuff, I think that the press conference, he's just talking learning the tracks. It's huge for these MXGP guys. They normally have a full practice day with qualifying races before they're even doing the motos another day. So learning this track, I think it's going to be a huge eye opener because normally he's used to, all right, I got two practice sessions, a qualifying race, where he's actually racing, learning the track. So I think eighth, I mean, his speed's just slowly going to come. And I kind of expect Prado right there, at least for these first two rounds, getting used to the day.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a story to keep our eye on.
Because all these guys have been racing them since the 250 class. It's pretty much the
Yeah.
same tracks. So I
Now
mean, these
Paul
guys
did
know the
change it.
fast lines a little
Yeah,
bit, but
a
not
little
much.
bit. Yeah,
They just made a right 180 into a left 180. And pretty much that was pretty much all the track difference, really.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. How quickly he can adjust to some of these tracks. And we'll go to motor results a little bit later. Cooper Webb, seems like he still had his Supercross hangover. Qualifying 12th overall. Not that he's known for that raw speed, but I still would expect him to be ahead of those names of Savachi, Drake. Maybe not Anderson, but yeah, maybe at least qualify in the top 10. And then Cody Shock, he's back up to the 450 qualifying 14th. But yeah, Justin, what about you? Anything else qualifying that stood out to you?
Derek Drake 10th.
Yeah.
I think Derek Drake getting 10th, that's really good for him. I mean, he's missed a lot of racing, but he showed that he's got the speed. He was ripping at Glen Helen, hanging in there with Nichols, and out qualified Nichols. I just think it's good to see Jet Tomac coming back and showing that speed. I think we were really curious how they were going to come back. So them and qualifying, both being 1 and 3. Normally we'd expect Sexton to be the fastest guy, especially coming off of racing and get gate drops. But we'll talk about Sexton later.
Hey, I mean, he was sandwiched in there. He got to second overall. So
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, it was good to see those guys show up and show that they had that speed. The question was always going to be the stamina. We'll talk about, how they looked. Let's go into the 250 class. I mean, to me, to start is going to be the Deegan domination. I mean, he really showed that he is in a class of his own. He came through the pack on both occasions, gapped the field by I think 10 seconds on almost both. I know Shimoda was closer in the second one, but I mean, Deegan says this is his favorite track. But honestly, I mean, if you're looking at this, and we'll talk about the title, but I mean, I just see Deegan winning every round. Maybe not every moto, but it's hard for me to see someone stepping up and beating him for an overall at any track this year.
Honestly, I almost thought the complete opposite. I thought Deegan was going to win by like 30 seconds. For him talking about how this is his favorite track, I was
Hmm.
expecting him to come out and blow everyone out of the water. If you look at it, he won by 6.5 seconds and 5.5 seconds.
Hmm.
I I was expecting a lot more from him, but you never know with Deegan. He did make his way through the pack. He had some help. Hymus went down. A couple guys went down in front of him, but they battled for a while. It took them for a while to get up there, up to the front, and make the pass. Vial and Bomer were kind of up there. Hymus getting the whole shot, and then
Hmm.
Masterpool's jump, that was sick. I don't know why other people weren't doing that. I know it was a little deep to go to the outside,
Hmm.
but you carried so much more speed coming into those rollers because you land in that first roller, you double, and then you're already going off. So I thought a lot more people would be doing that after they saw some of those guys do that. But yeah, I thought Deegan was just going to win by a lot more, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? We kind of saw it a little bit in Supercross. Maybe this is just kind of part of him of, hey, like once you get up to that 5, 6, 7 second lead, tone it down a little bit, right? Smooth, right? I mean, how many times did we see him last year have that big lead, and then, for example, Hangtown have a
Yep.
big gnarly get off, and luckily he was still able to still get the overall. But maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's just because at both motos, I think he was up to 10 seconds. At least the first one for sure, he was up by 10 seconds, gapped these guys, and then I think maybe who knows, maybe he just kind of let off and kind of rode it in smooth and safely. But I mean, yeah, he looked great. He really looked like he was in a class of his own. Someone that really surprised me, Shimoda. I mean, Shimoda looked great. All day, really surprised, especially after what Hymus did in qualifying. But I mean, Shimoda goes 2-2 on the day. I mean, that was pretty surprising to me.
Yeah, I think Shimoda 2-2 is definitely the biggest surprise. I was worried Shimoda was going to go like 8-10 or something like that. I mean, but he got good starts, stayed up front, worked his way up front, was consistent, didn't make any big mistakes. I mean, Honda 2-3. I mean, for the first moto at least, that's huge for them to do that. It's been a while since they've kind of had that 250 dominance or those top 250 guys, but seems like outdoors they got the right guys for outdoors at least.
Yeah, could have been a much better day, right? I mean, Hymus went down the first moto too. I think while
Hmm.
he was leading, so it could have been a
Yep.
very different day. But yeah, he turned it around there. Someone that I had to put out there, put him on a milk carton was Levi Kitchen. I mean, 16th overall, 10th in the first moto, 38th in the second one. But I mean,
Got a bike problem though.
he's
Second one,
considered
bike blew.
but still a 10th in the first moto. I mean, you're considered a title contender, and you can't get first, especially with those guys being PC. They're right down the
Hmm.
street. I expected a lot more from Kitchen.
Looking at it, he was the last guy on PC. He had Marchbanks, Masterpool, Hammaker, Adams, and Kitchen. 6th through 10th was all PC guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's nice to see PC guys running up there, but obviously they got to get up to the front pack. But yeah, it looks like Kitchen kind of started it buried in the back, didn't get a good start. I don't know really what happened. He didn't really move up until the later part of that moto and started making some moves and clicking the guys off. But we've seen that with Kitchen. It's either
Hmm.
he gets a great start and he's battling for the win or runs away with it, or he gets a mediocre start and he kind of just hangs around there and he doesn't have that Deegan, I'm going to ball to the wall, get through the pack no matter what. So, yeah,
Yeah.
Kitchen, it still seems start related. I mean, you can't be relying on that though.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think and look at the field. We saw a few guys I feel where stamina maybe played a factor. I mean, Tom Vial. I think he had the whole shot. Julian ended up passing on the first lap, but he ended up falling back to fourth. Juju, he showed that he had the speed, but he ended up going 5-4 as well. So I think a couple of these guys, they kind of showed that maybe their stamina isn't quite there yet, and we saw them kind of fade back there towards the end of those motos.
Yeah, Masterpool as well. He faded a little bit.
Hmm.
But also Masterpool hasn't been racing, so that could be part of it, getting back into race shape. It's definitely rough. I mean, Mosman 11th. I was kind of impressed by Mosman getting 11th, beating
Yeah,
some of these guys. You normally wouldn't be seeing that.
yeah. Drew Adams, he's back, racing motocross. Gets that 11th place, which also I talked about. I know at the beginning or last week, I think CJ threw out him getting podiums, and I'm just like, I just don't see. I can see him being in this range week in and week out. I mean, you look at this list. Who do you feel confidently that he's gonna be every single week in and week out? These guys ahead of him. To me, I'm just like I just don't see it. I think Max Volan, he's pretty solid. Moseman, he has speed. Hammerkurt, Masterpool, we know that too. So I don't know. I feel like this is where we're gonna see Drives. I think he's gonna float around this 9 to 14 range. That's what he got this weekend. But I think that's where he's gonna sit. I just don't see him having that raw speed to really climb up with these guys.
I, I think fifth, looking at the way everything kind of shook down, I think fifth through like 14th is just going to be a shake of a dice every week.
Hmm.
I mean, there's so much speed in there, and they're all kind of around that, same speed. Lap times are kind of similar. We had quite a bit of guys that were, didn't, Faulkner Robinson didn't finish the motos. Thrasher got ran over. So there's some of those guys that can throw their names in there. J Mart, if he gets a start, maybe he's thrown in there. Even the club rookie Alexander. Ryder D was 17th. I don't know what happened with him. I thought he was up there, I believe. Oh, maybe that was second moto. But it looks like he fell off too. He got up to 11th, and then he must have fell back. But Parker Ross, 16th. That's good for him. New bike,
Hmm.
Bar
Yeah.
X. Good showing right there for him. Jordan Smith, 13th. I mean, kind of expected maybe a little bit more out of him. I don't know if he fell or not, but
I got 19 as the overall.
I'm talking about for first moto. Just first
Oh
moto,
yeah.
13th. Yeah, 13th first moto. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at just first moto right now, but
Oh yeah. I was just going just total, just overall, just both motos together. But yeah,
okay,
him
yeah,
13,
overall, yeah.
23. 19th overall. Enzo,
I
he
was gonna
he
say
looked good
that
in Glen Hello. And, 18th, you kind of
it's
see,
supposed to be
where
an
he stacks up.
it's supposed to be an amateur guy though, so I mean,
Yeah.
he's still got Loretta's he's gonna be doing, so you can't knock it too much because he's still out there beating some factory guys and some guys that are on some high level privateers. He's not even on a pro circuit bike. He's on
Yeah.
just a Team Green Cowie pitting out of the truck and a trailer. So
Yeah.
he's doing it privateer style, and for him to get points, that's huge. I think as a you know amateur pro, I guess you want to call them, because they race pro class. So that you gotta just be happy with that. You gotta take the pluses as you can.
Yeah. It's just a gauge drops there. We talked about his name in the pre-race, Mikhail Harup. I expected him more. There was a lot of hype with him going into this weekend. 15, 16. I mean, the hype was that he was going to be a top 10 guy. We might see him top five. So kind of surprising there. But once again, we all know, Paul is just a weird track that it throws a lot of guys off. And he was someone that does a lot of training out west. When you come to Paul, it's just going to be way different than what your bike is set up for.
Yeah, he's been, back east, Georgia or wherever. I think it's Florida, wherever Triumph is at. But I think he's another one of those MXGP guys. He
Hmm.
new to the States, new, way everything is. It's gonna probably take a couple rounds for him to get used to how fast it is. Bial's talked about that was a huge struggle when he first came here.
Hmm.
It's just learning these tracks is so different, and you know, you got 2 laps, and then you got to go full hammer down to get a qualifying time. So, I mean, that's a lot to learn. Think about if we only had 2 laps. We ride some of these tracks nonstop and still can't even put a fast lap down. So,
Hmm.
it's a struggle at that top level. And I'm curious on. I'd love to ask some of these MXGP guys how different is the track prep? How much deeper is they ripping it here compared to there? Because it seems like here it's way deeper than MXGP. There's a lot more, movement, I guess you could say, around the track, using the
Hmm.
track a little bit more.
A
Out
lot
here, it
more
seems like
jumps over here.
yeah, a lot more jumps, a lot deeper, a lot more watering. It seems like MXGP is kind of that old school. we're just gonna fix this one section, fix the start, and then good luck, boys.
Yep. Well, going into the last story that I have for the 250, the other boys aren't on here, but J Mart, they put some money on the line. CJ said that J Mart was gonna wax Master Pool. Zach put up, the 5 positions, but I mean J Mart 21st, Master Pool 10th. I mean 11 positions. I mean this was a lot worse than what I anticipated from J Mart, but last week I said I'm like I just think that maybe it's just gonna be a lot for him. I didn't really catch him. Maybe he got bad starts, but even then, 2020, I don't know. I expected more from him, but you threw out last week. You're like, what? J Mart's not gonna be battling for points. What are you talking about? Well,
Oh, well,
he barely got it.
not points. He got a point. So,
Yeah. He barely
uh,
he got it. So, but yeah,
he
I
he.
mean, I was really surprised by J
I'm,
Mart. I expected more.
I mean, he did start 33rd. He was 33rd after the first lap in the first moto, so that definitely didn't help him. I mean, I get, he's a veteran. He knows what to do. He knows where he needs to be. But I think him not getting gate drops is huge. It looks second moto, he was 35th after lap one.
Yeah.
So his starts need some help. But he obviously has proven he can make some passes, move up through the field. So that's good to see. That he still has that racecraft and can make the way forward. But yeah, Masterpool, yeah, definitely won that bet by a few. Maybe move the handicap to 8.5 or something like that for the
Yeah.
next round. But yeah, J Mart's got a little bit to work on. All I'm doing this week is starts if I'm him.
I mean, it's if you can't get a decent start, even just a bad start on a star Yamaha, like those are terrible starts if you're in the 30s on a star Yamaha, but you can't even start
That's the
15th.
first lap, though. That's the first lap. That's not even off the start. That's after the first lap.
Yeah, that's true. So his start was probably even worse, and maybe he crashed. But I mean, you're on a star bike. I mean, you should be able to get up there and put yourself in good position. So yeah, like you said, starts all week long. We know his stamina's there. Obviously, he has the speed. He did climb up through the pack, but I really want to see what is he going to do if he can get that top 10 start and hang out with some of these other guys. Can he hang up there, or do we see him kind of falling back just because
Yeah,
the speed just isn't there?
yeah, you got to see what that raw speed is. Does he still have that will to hang it out? We talked about it, how I think when he came back to Star that one time, and Deegan blew by him on the track or something like that, he said,
Hmm.
"This is the time I need to retire," or whatever. Like, if you have that mindset, you're not going to be out there competing for wins, or pushing that level. And these guys in the 250 class, these kids just, they're balls to the wall. They don't care if that bike blows up, full revs, clutch in, they don't care. They're sawing your front tire off. They're doing whatever they can to put food on their table. So, J Mart's a retired veteran. I mean, it's just hard to make those moves when you kind of haven't made already a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you push that much, to do that? He has only ridden the bike probably 10 times, I think he said. So, it's tough to just jump right in with these boys.
Yeah. And then the last note I have, so the Club MX rider Alexander makes his debut 22-19, right there in the thick of things, gets a point in his second moto. So cool to see him out there, but once again I kind of expected more, but who knows? It could be his first, outdoors jitters. Maybe we'll kind of see him shine. But Justin, anything else as far as the 250 side before we talk about 250 title and 250 Hangtown picks?
I think Kitchen, I mean, that 38th, I think that's tough. I mean, for
Is that
him to
in
be
the
the only
title
piece,
hopes?
I I mean, if Deegan's going 1-1, yeah. I mean, Kitchen doesn't really have like we talked about. If he doesn't get a start, he's
Hmm.
not running up front. I mean, you're
Yep.
not going to win a title doing that ever. I mean, Supercross, you might be able to do that, because there's such a separator from some of those top guys. But outdoors, these guys grow up on outdoors. They're used to hanging it out. It's all they ride to get back into shape before they go back onto Supercross. So, yeah, you can't just be out there roaming around 15th, and getting 15th starts on those PC bikes. Those PC bikes got plenty of power to get up front. Masterpool's shown it multiple times. Marchbank's getting good starts. So,
Hmm.
you can't be the last PC guy pretty much in the rig, and supposed to be
Especially
the
when
A
you're their
guy.
number one guy, yeah. And
Yeah,
he's 38 points back already.
and he just signed a 2-year deal too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I thought
that's pretty ugly.
McAdoo was going to be racing this weekend,
Yeah, so did I. I'm actually kind of surprised too that he
and
wasn't out there.
I didn't hear anything about, there wasn't much talk about it at all.
Mm-mm. No, but all right, Justin. Well, I mean, we can make this really quick. Do you have any changes from Paula as far as the 250 title or race winner for Hangtown, or is it Deegan's until someone can show they can do it?
I definitely got to be digging until someone proves otherwise.
Yeah,
I mean, no one's really. I want to see Deegan get chased down and pass. That'd be great to see. I want
I don't
someone
see
to
it
do that.
happening. I just don't see it happening.
I I don't, but I'd love to.
Yeah,
it
I mean, we saw
it'd be
Deegan did really good last year at Hangtown. He got or a couple years ago.
yeah, he
So he
ragdoll.
he does good there. So I mean, yeah, actually, I'm curious what to look at the odds, but I mean, if
I
Deegan
think
is anywhere near even money, it's worth putting money on him.
yeah, I don't know if we can't bet on 250
Oh
yet,
yeah, you're right.
but
Yeah, you
yeah.
can't
Which I mean, Deegan probably be like minus 300 or something, but it'd be
probably.
interesting. I mean, with Shimoda going 2-2 and Hymus, hanging up there, even Beaumare and Vial, I mean, it'd be I think second place for this championship's going to be a great battle.
Yeah,
But
I
it'd be
think so.
interesting to see if those guys. I mean, we know how Deegan is Deegan's gonna crash at some point. Deegan's gonna hang it out. If Deegan has a bike problem,
Hey,
you
we'll
never
see.
know.
We'll see, right?
So.
We said the same thing about Supercross, and he ended up kind of smoothing it out there towards the end. I think it's just going to be a lot of how fast of a start he can get out. If he can get out to and really stack up a points lead, I think we'll see him kind of ride a lot smoother. But honestly, I think he can beat these guys at 80% speed. He has the stamina, especially these hotter days, that he's going to be able to hang in there. He can overcome these bad starts where these other guys can't. If he does get a start, there's no one that's going to be able to chase him down anyways. So yeah, he's
Mhm.
going to have to hit the ground for these guys to have a chance. Now it could happen, but I think we're just going to see him kind of mature a little bit more. And like I said, like this weekend, I mean, he rode pretty stellar. Not even getting good starts on either one of those races.
Yeah, he kind of just hung in there. He didn't really force many passes. Even passing Beaumare, for the
Yeah.
lead in that second moto, he didn't really force it. Beaumare kind
No.
of made a
Yeah.
mistake and he went right around. So
Yep.
you didn't see those sketchy Deegan moments you normally always see. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when normally for him. So
Yep. All right. Let's go over into the 450 class. I mean, we talked about before, Jet stays perfect at Paula. We didn't know what to expect, but we also wouldn't be surprised if he came out here and went 1-1, and that's exactly what he did. Tomac did give him a good little battle there at the end of Moto 2, but I don't know. We know Jet's not 100%.
I don't
So,
think Tomac's 100% either. I think Tomac and Jett. I wrote this down. Battle's going to be so fucking sick. That's what I got written down. I mean, Tomac to hang in there in that second moto pretty much almost that whole way until the end. We know Tomac's not a great guy at Paula. He doesn't really like that track. So I can't wait to see. I think this weekend we're gonna have a great battle. Tomac and Jett at Hangtown.
what we need is we need the opposite. We need Eli in front of Jet. Because
Yeah,
that's going to tell us a lot. Because we
well,
need to see, can Eli hold off Jet? We know Jet
I
can hold off Eli, but it's the other way around. Can Eli get a good start? Jet's a great starter outdoors. We've seen that, and that was the issue before when Jet went perfect, is that he got damn near almost every hole shot. So
Mhm.
Eli's got to get a better start, and he's got to get ahead of Jet and see if Jet can go and chase him down.
Well, even this weekend, Tomac didn't get great starts, and he had to make his way through. Jet got the whole shot one, and I think Hunter got the
But
next one.
and the
And
end result is
And
still the same.
yeah,
It
well,
might
I
have
mean,
looked
Jet,
prettier, but he still lost to
yeah,
Jet.
yeah, yeah. Tomac seventh place start. I mean, once Tomac gets those start style down, I think gate drops is always huge for these guys coming back. So I mean, Tomac, I was kind of a little worried after that first moto, him getting fourth. He almost got
Hmm.
Hunter. He almost got Hunter right there on the last lap. So that was good to see him closing up on Hunter because last year Hunter was kind of the only guy to give Sexton
Yeah.
a run for his money. So I was kind of really curious to see how that was kind of my comparison for Tomac. Where's he going to
Yep.
be kind of hanging with Hunter? And I think that's the same thing with Jet too, because both those guys missed outdoors last year. Jay Coop, very impressive that first moto, holding everyone off, staying in second. But yeah, and then Tomac that second moto. I mean, they battled for what 30 minutes, I think he was on there until the end. It kind of kind of slacked off. But I mean, I was watching it today, and I was just like, I can't wait for some more of these rounds. Some of these more Eli Tomac tracks, the Thunder Valley, Red Bud. It's just gonna. I think we're in for a great season, even with
Yeah,
Sexton out. So.
yeah, I agree. I think going back to Tomac, same thing. I thought it was great seeing this, right? My biggest concern, and I talked about it, is these guys were going to have the speed. I even said one of these guys will probably be fastest qualifier, but it was the stamina, or will they be able to hold that pace on? And both of them
Hmm.
did. Both of them looked great. Tomac looked hungry. He was riding super aggressive, really charging it. But yeah, I mean, we see neither one of them are 100%. We know that, but that's what I got to see is, can we see Tomac chase down Jett? Can we see Tomac, get away from Jett at any of these
Hmm.
tracks? But the stars play such a big, important factor with these races, and Jett's a damn good starter. So we're gonna have to
And
see. But
it
yeah, I mean, it's awesome. And then the other head of this three-headed monster, Sexton. I mean, his title's over, but I don't know, dude.
crybaby.
It just kind of all falls right back into a first round. I don't know. I don't know. It sounds like he got hit in the goggles with a rock and it broke the lens, but then he didn't stop and get replaced. He just decided to ride with no goggles on. So who knows? That obviously plays a big factor too. But yeah, I don't know. I just hope that he's back for Hangtown and that we can kind of get this revamp. I just hope this isn't Sexton's going to miss multiple rounds again, and we're already missing an elite guy.
Well, I mean, he's already 50 points down. He might as well just start prepping that Cowie. Might as well start testing that thing. But,
Yeah.
um, you know, you you can't show that to your competitors. I mean, he's literally crying in the pits. I'm like, dude, if I get it, no goggles. There's not really anyone in front of him at that moment. That lead pack was kind of away a little bit. He had Tomac on his ass, but I mean, he could have pulled in for goggles twice, kept going, finally put the pit board out. Hey, next lap, and then that lap. I don't know, did he land on his lock his rear brake up, false neutral? Did he really hit
Yeah, I
false
don't know.
neutral? Because when he landed, his rear tire was still spinning like it was in gear. So it wasn't, in neutral. So it almost
Well,
looked like he
neutral, the
slammed
tire
on
was
his.
still, yeah.
So, I mean, you
It was
can't.
weird.
And then
I mean,
and
it
he
doesn't
laid,
make sense either way.
I mean, I
Like,
can see maybe if he got his wind knocked out of him, which could have happened, or was it, is he just being like the NBA guys or these soccer guys and, just flopping and laying there to get the sympathy? I got no goggles, I'm hurt. So,
yeah,
he
I mean,
could have
that's
easily
that's
put
not
goggles
Chase.
on and
That's
kept
not
going.
Sexton's mantra though. Like he's known for being a tough ass dude and hitting the
Is
ground
he
and getting back up and finishing the
mono,
races.
mono,
Okay, but I mean, like I said,
crying?
we're not doctors. We don't know what it is, but he's not. He's known for tucking the front and hitting the ground, right? He's always finished his races. So I mean, look at Hangtown last year. He hit the deck. He went from 40th all the way up to first. So you can't question that aspect to him. But yeah, I mean, I just hope that he comes back. I want to see him dice it up there with these guys. I just want to see the three fastest guys race, and those are the three fastest guys out there, and
Mm-hmm.
see what they can do. You brought up Jay Coop. I mean, really great in that first moto. I'm still high on. I think he's gonna get a moto win. Um,
Yep.
he just has to get ahead of these guys. That's really the most important. Um, but
Yeah,
Prado.
I don't know what happened with Jay Coop that second moto. I mean, he got like a 10th place start, it looks like, but I don't know if maybe he ran out of energy, kind of drained the gas tank or what happened, but maybe that first moto took too much out of him, but definitely showed the speed. Like you said, Prado 7.6. I think
Mhm,
we kind of said 5 to 10, I think is what we said, or top five, kind of as like a reach. But I mean, 7.6 first round, you're still good enough points, if something does happen. So first race, first time racing in America on America tracks, America schedule, it's way different because even when we do MX the Nations, he's still doing, his normal schedule. So that was kind of where he slotted at. And then I think Benoit,
mhm,
and then Valentine. I don't know how to say his last name, but those are more MXGP guys. First time here. Benoit was that only guy hucking that jump
mhm.
into that roller. I think all race. I saw a lot of
Yep.
people talk about. I don't know why other people weren't doing it because it looked so fast. It was sick too. It was a big jump. But I mean, three MXGP guys, first time out here in America, I believe, and 7, 7, 10, and 11. I mean, it's pretty good. Not as good as
Yeah, I
America,
mean,
but
looking at the overall, so yeah, Prado he gets sixth overall,
oh
Benoit
yeah,
gets
6,
10th
yeah.
overall, and then Valentin gets 11th overall. But yeah, back to Prado. To me, this is Paula Fox Raceway. Kawasaki's right down the street. He can ride this track as much as he wants. Now, yeah, national prep is going to be a lot different, but to me, after seeing this, I don't give him any shot at winning this title. He needs
Yeah,
Jett, Tomac, and Sexton, and honestly, probably Hunter too, to go down for him to have a chance. I just I don't see it. Maybe I don't know if he's like a crazy stance specialist. Maybe when we go to Southwick, he might
Southwick.
just wax everyone because he's a specialist. But outside of that, I just don't see it. Paul is a pretty basic moto track for all these
I,
guys, and he's down there. I
I
don't know. I expected a lot more from him.
I think that's also part of it though. Paula is a very basic track, you know. I don't really pay much attention to MHB enough to know exactly what each track is, but
Hmm.
MXGP, I don't know if there's a track really kind of like Paula at all. I mean, like you
No.
said, it's kind of a basic. The dirt's very weird, and they rip it so deep. I think that's another big thing with how deep it is. It's a lot different. Like you say, moving from West Coast to Texas, just that deep is a huge
His starts
difference.
weren't
So,
good either. Like he
hmm
didn't get good starts in either moto neither. Like so that went out the door.
yeah. Which
To
I
me, I
mean,
just think it's too many changes to expect him to be a podium guy or let alone a moto
yeah,
winner.
it's going to take probably 3-4 rounds for him to kind of really settle in, get used to the schedule,
But
and then
then
maybe up there fighting for podiums, maybe.
once again, that's 3 4 weeks for Jet and Tomac to get healthy and into form. So
Yeah,
I don't
there's
know.
no title, no title for him unless you got 4 guys getting hurt.
Yeah. But I mean, he kind of fell right where I thought. I honestly I thought this was going to be very similar to a Supercross season. He was kind of the
Hmm
same. He was that 6 to 10 guy in Supercross too, and he has the talent to overcome those things. But to get to that elite level, he's got a ways to go. Savashi, eighth overall, great job for him. RJ Hampshire, making his debut, sixth in his first moto, 12th in the second one. I mean, RJ looked good. He
Yeah,
looked.
that first,
Honestly, I don't think
yeah,
I saw any kind of scary moments with him.
yeah, RJ, maybe this 450 settles him down. He can ride in that higher gear. He's not revved out. He's
Hmm.
not trying to force it like the 250 kids are. Maybe that plays a factor into it. He doesn't have
Yep.
to be that full balls to the wall. Higher gear in that 450. It's a more mature class. So, these guys are kind of, maybe a little bit more respectful when it comes to watching your inside. So you're not on alert the whole time. Maybe a 450 does fit RJ better. Sometimes guys are better on 450s than they are 250s just because the way they ride. So, but yeah, very impressive. First race had hand surgery. I believe it was 10 days. Anything to say 10 days before
Yeah.
Paula. So he's another person, coming off of surgery. Disappointing, not getting that Supercross title, but impressive showing. Fastest Husky rider out there, though.
Yeah, we'll get over to the best that you guys placed in there, but Cooper Webb, Supercross champion. I mean, he
Mm,
gets 37 DNS. You see that precious blue crew just couldn't
God, makes me
handle it.
hurt.
Um, Gets a seventh in Moto 2. I mean, we'll see. He says that he's all built for it. Let's see what his attitude is like after Hangtown when it's triple digits. But I don't know. Do you see? To me, I don't really care where Cooper Webb finishes in outdoors. My question is he really going to race all 11 rounds? Because I don't
Nope.
think he's going to.
I'd almost put money on it. He doesn't. He probably. I think it also depends on his wrist or his thumb. I think
Hmm.
that depends on it. If it outdoors is a little bit different than Supercross, it's rougher outdoors. So if that starts bugging him, I can definitely see him stopping and trying to get that fixed before SMX. But he's definitely got a race now to get those points. To have that seating. Because what's nice for him is Jet and Tomac are back a lot just because of Supercross, missing out on all that.
Yeah.
And now Sexton
Yeah.
Sexton just lost 50 points or probably 30 something to him too
Yeah.
in the overall standings with him going, DNF. So yeah, that I think that's the huge factor. How does that thumb wrist hold up? But yeah, it was a sad day for Blue Crew, but Star Racing, Blue Crew, they know what they're doing. Swap that bike out, top 10 by Webb. I mean, especially coming off of like you said in Supercross. I'm not worried about outdoors. So
Yeah.
who knows how much testing he was doing. He's not grinding. He wasn't grinding outdoor motos probably during Supercross. He's more worried about that title. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. If he does stay, it'll be nice. See where he can, slot his way into there. Because seventh at round one is kind of better than what I did think Webb was going to do. I was thinking
Yeah.
more like 10 to 13 maybe, especially with some of these guys that are way better outdoors than they are in. So good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Two other names to throw out there, Malcolm Stewart get the 15th to kind of open up outdoors. That's pretty rough, 35th in Moto 2. And then Cody Schock, his debut, 15:37, ugly second moto. We saw that from quite a few of these guys. It's hard to stay consistent when the conditions are this nasty. But anything else to you as far as the 450 class this week?
The off-road guy, Mason Simmons, the guy who finished
Hmm.
second in the Glen Helen race, he went 18-18. So another one of those off-road guys coming from Works, NGPC style, coming into the outdoors and scoring points. So I
Hmm.
think it's cool to see these outdoor guys come into the pro moto because they're always talking shit back and forth. Can they do this? Can they do that? And for now.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. You're cutting out a little bit. If it helps, you can leave your camera off. Justin having some connection issues. But yeah, so talking about, it's always cool. We see it every round at Paula, some unique names, some off-roaders that will show up and kind of see where they stack up with the rest of the group. But all in all, great round there. And then going over into the picks into Hangtown, um, to me, it's very similar to Deegan. Um, Someone's got to show that they can beat Jett. Now we know last year, Jett went down at Hangtown, so who knows? Is that going to play a factor? That's something that's going to be going on in the back of his head. I mean, time will tell. Is Sexton going to be able to bounce back? He had that legendary ride last year at Hangtown, 40th the first to get the overall. So I mean, who knows? There's going to be a lot of factors going into Hangtown. We've talked about it a little bit. Weather shows it's going to be hot, triple digits, 100 degrees for these guys. I'm anticipating the motos probably get cut short like they usually do. But that also plays a factor. But I mean, going into Hangtown, even with the title, as far as me, after seeing this weekend, seeing what Jett did, winning in dominating fashion, he's only going to get better. I have to stick with Webb for the Hangtown win and also stick to Hangtown, um, for Jett to win this title overall until, like I said, someone shows, Tomac, Sexton, so that they can chase him down and get this win. But also, can we see those guys, Tomac and Sexton, get ahead of Jett and see if Jett can go and chase them down and get the win? So a lot still to be showed. As we start this outdoor season, we know the first couple rounds are usually hard packed. Thunder Valley can usually get a little bit rutted. We'll see what the prep looks like, but then once we get out to high points, really the series kind of takes its form, and those tracks really start showing their teeth. Um,
I'm back. I'm back.
Justin,
I'm
we got
back.
you
I
back
don't know
on?
what happened. Yes, I don't know what the hell happened, but it kicked me out for some reason.
All right,
China,
there you go.
China, they're hacking us.
All right, so I was just kind of going run down. To me, as far as Hangtown 450 title, it's Jett until someone can beat them. How about you? What do you think going into Hangtown 450 title? I know you had Tomac at the beginning, but how you feeling? Do you still think Tomac is going to take this title from Jett?
I'm still gonna support Blue Crew. I think Tomac's got that dog into him, but I think we're gonna have a dog fight. I mean, these two are gonna be swapping motos back and forth. It might be like Tomac and Sexton in 22, I believe it was. Where every race these guys are just going back and forth at each other and just at each other's throats nonstop. They kind of showed it in Moto 2 this weekend. I think Tomac's fitness ain't quite there yet.
Mm,
But we know Tomac. If he's not fit enough, he's gonna find a way to be fit enough. He was absolutely ripping right there on Jett's rear wheel pretty much the whole moto. So I'm still going to stick Tomac for the title for sure.
And then this weekend, what do you think? Is Tomac going to go out there? He's known for his legendary Hangtown ride as well. So, Jet has a bad memory of Hangtown last week. Sexton has a dominating Hangtown. So, what do you think going into Hangtown? Who you got?
I'm going to take Tomac at a 2-1 for the win. Jett's going to go 1-2. Sexton's going to be, who knows if he's even going to line up. So if he lines up 3-4,
Your hate for
3-3,
Sexton is unmatched.
hey, sorry, man. What do I got to say? Give me titles, crying, pulling off. I mean, the list goes on and on why his vagina lips are flapping around. So, um, yeah, Sexton, you got to gut it out, at least try or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he just instantly, it looked like he just gave up right away. I mean, he was already in tears by the time he got to the mechanics, like almost like a look at me, like I said earlier, poor me, look at me.
It
So,
definitely didn't look like that hard of a hit, but once again, who knows? We don't know.
yeah,
Um,
I think with Sexton being down this many points, I don't think he's going to make up that many points to maybe get third in the championship. I think it might be a Hunter
yeah.
with Hunter the way Hunter and Jay Cooper riding. I mean, those guys could maybe put it to Sexton or be battling with Sexton. Like you
I
said
mean,
earlier, I
we'll
think,
see. Don't forget, Sexton was still beating all those guys by 30 seconds last year.
and Hunter was the
Sexton
one
still
who
has
beat
it
him
in.
in wins. Hunter did get wins last year, so Hunter did win
He
motos
he
last
got
year.
he
You
got a
can't forget
moto
about
win,
that.
but Sexton always came back second moto and destroyed him. But yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? I mean, we got to see how Sexton's going to bounce back, where his mentality is going to be. He might be kind of say, "F it, I have no pressure now. Let me just go out there and just ride loose." And
Oh
maybe he
yeah,
does kind of get back up there, you know?
his Cowie contract might be on the line now.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, not after what they're seeing with Prado.
Yeah, I mean Prado finished.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, maybe Anderson gets re-signed now because he at least finished the moto.
Yeah, right.
Oh, what a
Um,
story that would be. Anderson gets re-signed and Sexton's deal falls through. What a shakeup that would be around
yeah,
the pits
right.
for the way, because everything's kind of waiting on Sexton, which everyone, I know.
Not a chance.
I know, CJ. Oh my God, Pope's the only one to report Sexton to Cali. I mean, Wilson's talking about it. CJ's favorite guy, Jitsy's talking about it. So, maybe CJ needs to believe some of these actual people that have some moto news and stuff like that. They kind of are plugged in. They're rumors, but there's normally truth to rumors.
Yeah. And last thing to go over, so Wager Wednesday. I know you boys had a couple of tickets that you put in. Obviously, those are on there, but Justin, share what'd you end up hitting? What'd you end up winning this weekend?
So early in the week last week, we saw Tomac opened up at plus 600 and Jet was like minus 150 or something. I think you were an idiot not to throw some money on Tomac at plus 600 no matter what. Yeah, I mean, $25 to win 175. I'll take that any day, even if I lose my 25. So, you never know with Moto. And then the line started to change a lot. I mean, it dropped down to plus 300 for Sexton and Tomac, and Jet went to plus 125 and plus 110. And I throw a total of $60 on that, and I walked away with like 130. And then I had a couple other bets for parlays. I had Tomac over Sexton. I had Prado over Anderson or something like that. Prado over someone. And then
Hmm.
I had AP over, and maybe that was the one that was over Anderson. I think it's AP. Oh, it's Prado over Webb, AP over Anderson. So I had those three parlayed. It was $10 for 70. And then all of us in the group kind of had J Coop over whoever. And
And
then it
RJ
was
over Malcolm.
RJ over Malcolm and or AP over Anderson, and then Jet over Tomac. And I think I threw five on that, and it paid out 46 or something like that. I was around $125 total, including that Tomac, $25. But I walked away with about 275. So good profit, 150 on a nice week in a moto. So hopefully the lines come out soon. I haven't seen any yet. But it'd be interesting to see what this next round is. How much is Jet gonna get? Because if Jet's plus money every week, I mean, Jet and Tomac both plus money every week. How do you not put money on them?
Oh, definitely. I know CJ had a pretty good one too. I think he made almost $700 too. So yeah, there's definitely
Yeah.
money to be made this weekend. But all right, well, hey, looking forward into Hangtown. The Great Outdoors is here. What's going to happen? Is Jett going to keep riding? Is he going to stay perfect? Is Tomac going to come back and make a statement? And what section are we going to see? The 250 class is Deegan domination. Is anyone going to step up and challenge him? But that is it for this week.
Hey,
Thank you to Zack for coming on. Yeah,
what is the
Justin.
weather? What's the weather supposed to be like?
Right now the weather says it's going to be 100 degrees
Oof, it's gonna
on
be
Saturday,
warm.
so
Yeah,
it's going to
100
be
and
warm.
102. Oof.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, this is gonna test their fitness, so y'all boys better be ready.
Yeah, probably going to be shortened motos most likely.
Oh my
Uh,
God, dude. Fucking might as well make this the women's class to run 15 minutes plus one if we're gonna do that. Holy hell. Freaking make this call this arena cross or something, dude. We're this the pro nationals. To give them 30 plus one. They weren't shortening motos in Freestone back in the day in Texas.
yeah,
Hey,
well, they also had
you're
someone die because of heat
well, let
stroke
me
too.
I mean, pull off the track.
Yeah.
Hey,
All
jump
right.
into the pond.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you for listening. Follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube. We're also on Spotify. But we will see you next week to recap Hangtown. Talk to you later.
Later.